questions now. Previously last week, we mentioned the Foreign Secretary, David Lammy. I'm going to bring him back on screen because he's been getting some press as the peacemaker with regard to Israel and Gaza. What's he been talking about? Well, apparently he stated to Netanyahu that the war in Gaza is intolerable. Well, I think I'd agree with that one. Apparently, Britain is calling for a ceasefire deal and the space for a credible and irreversible pathway towards a two-state solution. I think I'll believe that when I actually see it, but this is the claim that's being made in this article around Lammy. What else can we bring in? Well, apparently he's called for the release of all hostages. He's also calls for a halt to settlement expansion in the Israeli-occupied West Bank. And he's called for a dramatic increase in aid for Gaza. So we might believe that we've got a politician here who's at least got the strength of character to stand up to Israel and say some things have got to be put right. But is this man true to his word? Well, we're going to come back to some tweets that he's previously made. This is 2017. And this is in relation to Trump. It says, read the Daily Mail story today. Yes, if Trump comes to the UK, I will be out protesting on the streets. He's a racist, KKK and Nazi sympathiser. Mike, is this the language, suitable language for somebody to get into government in a senior post to deal with other nations, do you think?
I think you're going to answer that when you put the next thing
Well, okay, we'll bring it in. I think that this is hate speech and it's got immensely dangerous implications. Of course, we've seen what's just happened to Trump, but it'll get worse. Let's have a look at this one. Tim, I don't know who the Tim is. Tim, you are clear. I would pour whatever I can get my hands on an avowed white supremacist. My ancestors died fighting for this SH1T. I don't give two bloody hoots what your apologist bottom thinks about it. That's me being polite. You lay down with dogs, you get fleas. So there's some really, really nasty stuff inside this man, but he's apparently the peacemaker on the national stage. This was an NPR report saying that British Parliament member David Lammy discusses why he opposed Trump's visit. This is back in 2018. And when we come to this one, it really takes the biscuit because this is 2019. Donald Trump has tweeted out that there has been no president in the history of our company who has been treated so badly as I have. The Democrats are frozen with hatred and fear. They get nothing done. This should never be allowed to happen to another president. It's a witch hunt. And Lammy has said 4 US presidents have been assassinated. Snowflake. So think about that comment in relation to the assassination attempt that we have just seen. And I'm going to suggest that this man is not fit to be in post and there's going to be major problems. I think we just have to watch him for long enough.
Indeed. Now the election is over, thank goodness, and that means that Ofcom gets back to work because they weren't able to do anything apparently during the election, all kinds of special rules and so on. So online safety is on the agenda once again. So they're switching that back on. And I wanted to just quickly remind everybody what Labour's position is on online safety. Of course, the Online Safety Act has passed, the legislation is in place, and Ofcom is back to work to start implementing it. But if we look at the Labour Party's manifesto, they said this: Labour will build on the Online Safety Act, bringing forward provisions as quickly as possible and explore further measures to keep everyone safe online, particularly when using social media. So they are talking about the Online Safety Act as being only the beginning. And if we go back to pre the election, in fact, if we go back to pre the passing of the Act, we should make the point that Labour was absolutely behind the idea of legal but harmful. This concept was dropped from the final legislation because it was so controversial and so draconian and so totalitarian that nobody was prepared to accept it. So when they say they're going to build on the Online Safety Act, many people, including myself, believe that this means the return of this type of idea, the idea that content which is absolutely legal but which they happen to not agree with should be systematically censored from the internet. Now, as I say, Ofcom back in business, and they are continuing to build their infrastructure in order to protect children, they claim, from harmful content online. So in order to protect children, I just want to remind everybody what companies, this is the tech companies, will have to do. First of all, they'll have to impose robust age checks. Now, of course, this isn't about checking the age of children. This is about checking the age of everyone. So this is all about digital ID because, of course, in order to check the age of anyone on the internet, they've got to identify them and absolutely establish their age to decide whether they're a child or not. They're going to bring about, companies are going to have to bring about safer algorithms to make sure that children don't get access to certain types of content. But again, if you want to browse these platforms anonymously or you don't want to identify yourself, then you're going to get, the presumption will be that you're a child and you will get the safer algorithms. And effective moderation will have to be imposed as well. This is the difference that Ofcom claims is going to be made. So children will not normally be able to access pornography, they say. So it's not going to stop them accessing it at all. It's just going to be not normal. There you go. Children will be protected from seeing and being recommended potentially harmful content, not harmful content, potentially harmful content. So we've got to be sure that we understand what that means. Children will not be added to group chats without their consent. But surely the problem here is that children are being groomed to take part in group chats. So I'm not sure how that works. And it will be easier for children to complain when they see harmful content, and they'll be more confident that their complaints will be acted on, apparently. So that's all good stuff, isn't it? No, right. Okay.
I'm at the speechless stage, Mike, because this is such nonsense.
Yes. So I'm mentioning this again because the consultation ends on the 17th of July. So in a few days' time, a couple of days' time, this is a consultation on protecting children from harms online. If you search for consultation protecting children from harms online, you will get to see that, and maybe you might add to the consultation. And we're just going to end this section on online safety with a clip from Mariana Spring, who's been talking about the shocking discussions that have been going on social media with respect to the Trump assassination attempt.
What's being said?
I think perhaps it didn't come as much of a surprise that there was a huge wave of disinformation, conspiracy theories, speculation, hate, mainly because this is the first attempted assassination of a former US president that we've ever witnessed in the social media age. It was coming from all sides of the political spectrum, but I think what surprised me was just how mainstream a lot of the conspiracy theory rhetoric became. It was being recommended to people's feeds on X, and the average person was really getting involved. In terms of what was being shared, there were lots of people suggesting, building on kind of legitimate concerns about alleged security failings, and suggesting, hang on, something's not right here. But then they took it that step further, saying maybe this is staged. They'd point at the extraordinary real pictures and say, there's something not right here. This must be a bit of a setup. Lots of those people were anti-Trump supporters. Their posts reached millions. There were then also some committed Trump supporters who suggested that this was part of some kind of shady cabal, a group of people, the deep state, they often refer to them as, who did this on purpose, that the CIA ordered it. There's no evidence to support any of these ideas, but that didn't stop them spreading so quickly across X in particular. And it was on X that it felt a bit like an earthquake, where political supporters on either side were doubling down in their echo chambers, pushing out this kinds of content. And the rest of us were left kind of scrabbling around, trying to work out what was going on. The BBC contacted X and they didn't get back to us.
Okay, Mariana.
So anyway, we always like to leave a bit of comedy to the end of the programme, and that hopefully got many of you laughing.
Yeah,
it certainly got Brian laughing.
They did. I wonder how many times I've contacted the BBC over the years and they never get back to me. They never answer the question. But be fair, what a lovely dress.
Okay. Well, we'll leave everybody.
We'll leave it on a happy note.
Yes.
She was wearing a lovely dress, I think. Okay, thank you very much to our audience today for joining us, wherever you are in the world. And a huge thank you to the people who are members of UK Column, because it's your generosity that keeps us going. So thank you very much for that support. We can only do what we do with your support. So thank you. We will be back. Where are we? In the week, Monday. We'll be back on Wednesday at the same time. If you're a member of the column, stay with us. We'll be with you for Extra in a few minutes, and we'll include the clip with Debbie advertising her full interview with Mr. Baudouin. So join us for that. Thank you.
Bye-bye.